I mean, you're able to, see differences between both promotions, and you're in two separate locker rooms. Uh, so many different people. Who are some of the people that you got to ride with in WWF, WWE that you have fond memories of?
I did a couple of trips with Shawn Michaels. We did. We were. This is a quick story, but this is what wrestlers do to each other. We were traveling in a pack, four in one car, four in the other, and Shawn Michaels was in the car in front of us. And they stopped at a store, and then they took off. So we're behind them. We're doing about 90 miles an hour down the Garden State Parkway in Jersey, and it's snowing. So all of a sudden, we see the window open up, and we see a gallon of milk come flying out of the car. So Shawn Michaels threw a gallon of milk. It hit our windshield. And if you've never seen milk hit a windshield when it's snowing outside at 100 miles an hour, he basically almost killed us all. But we all laughed about it because it was funny, because that's just the stuff that we did. We thought it was funny that in a snowstorm, we can't see anything going 110 miles down the Garden State Parkway. How we all survived, I have no idea. But we used to drive so much, and like WCW, we used to drive. You would never get a flight. WWF, they would fly you almost everywhere. So flying us, then we're renting a car, we're renting Cadillacs. One time in Boston, the Cadillac, we it literally barely rolled in back in there because we jumped a median in Boston. We didn't mean to. We didn't know where we were going, and completely screwed up the Cadillac. But it was fully insured, so we were okay. Just so many things, and that happened every week. Every week it was something, but it was fun. It was fun because it was we had to have fun because it was so boring. You drive and then you get to a building and you sit there and you go eat and you sit there and then you do an interview and then you sit there, then you go wrestle, then you drive for another 10 hours. A lot of driving.
It's
A
the
lot of driving.
grind.
It's the grind, but we loved it. We loved it. If you can, let me tell you what, you learn to sleep sitting up like this. A lot of times you learn to sleep with your eyes open too. I mean, it's crazy. The only time I really slept was in on the airplane because that was we drove so much. I mean, we're always driving, sleeping in airplanes. So I can
Yeah,
sleep on an airplane.
you have to get used to it because you're doing so much of one thing, and then when you're doing something else, it's a different kind of like, you know, feel because you're constantly used to, one thing. You're on the road, going from city to city, town to town on automobiles. When you're on the plane, it's a different story.
And they used to. Sometimes you'd have to take three flights in one day, and then rent a car because if they had to send you to Saskatoon for a layover for 2 hours because it was cheaper, they would send you to Saskatoon for 2 hours and make you wait and catch another flight to go back here because they were saving, $50 on a ticket. But, they didn't really care, about us back then. But, it was, and if you ask any of the guys from the 80s or any guys from 70s, all they're going to tell you is we had to be there. That was it. They didn't care how we got there. They just told us to be there. If they told you to be there at 1 o'clock, you were there at 1 o'clock. That's it. No matter how it took you to get there, you were there at 1 o'clock.
It's that discipline. You have to, and the time commitment, because you have to show up at a certain point in order for you to, go to work and do what you need to do, and get ready and prepare, and, constantly go through that cycle. I mean, it is, hard work.
Sometimes you would get lucky if let's say they would schedule like 2 nights in Poughkeepsie. So you would get, 2 nights. So you get to wrestle, but then you wouldn't have to drive anywhere. You could stay in the hotel for a whole night, relax, enjoy yourself, catch up on your sleep, and then the next night you're in Poughkeepsie again. So you wrestle, then you haul butt again. But you got that one night where you could just sit there in the hotel and just have fun. And That didn't come a lot, but they're not grinding as much as we used to back then. I mean, they realize that all that it leads to is killing your talent because the body needs rest and it needs to be able to heal itself. And if you're wrestling 300 days a year, you don't have time to heal yourself. And it hurts. Trust me. Oh, you're landing on a trampoline. It doesn't hurt. It's all fake. Okay, come look at my medical records and you tell me it's fake. Come talk to my doctor and tell me how fake it is. It's ridiculous. It's like I'm basically, 15 years away from a walker or a wheelchair. And that's how a lot of the guys are. And it's sad, you watch the movie The Wrestler and the way that they ended up, the older guys, and I look at the guys that were on top when I came in, and a lot of them are dead. Most of them are dead. And it hurts, man. I lost a lot of friends. But they're taking care, at least now, they've realized that you can't wrestle 300 days a year anymore. You need to sleep. And they're taking a little bit more care of the wrestlers. It's more of a healthy business than it used to be. And that's
Yes.
good because wrestling is always going to be around. It's the oldest sport in the world. Wrestling and running, they were used in the caveman days to assert dominance, and they're still going to be here. So,
Yeah.
you're still going to have wrestling, but can we, slow it down a little bit so that Cody Rhodes is around for 30 years? I
Yeah.
like